What's up, everyone? I'm Jimmy P here. Figured I'd just try this again. This time it's revised, I guess you could say. So what's gonna happen here is that I'm gonna have my own YouTube channel, give it a shot, because the first video I made, it was a Lee Malia signature Explorer guitar, and I can't say the words right because I don't know how to talk. So I did a review on that when I wanted to give like a quarantine thing going on, because of course we're all on self-isolation, we're all on this lockdown, if you will, or sometimes there's people that are still working, such as essential workers, especially the ones on the front lines, to all the nurses and the doctors doing all they can to help us all. So anyway, so this is going to be a series of story time basically with me. So again, as I said before, the first guitar video was basically on Facebook. I wanted to see if this was going to be of interest for some people. Well, here, lo and behold, I actually got some messages from friends, some other people saying that I should do more. They liked it, and I figured, well, let's go for it. So I'm using the camera now. I'm going to edit some videos, and we're just going to get right to it. So to start it off, this is one of my most prized possessions of guitar when I first started playing. This is a Squier Stratocaster. Not only is it a Squier Stratocaster, but it is a Tom DeLonge signature Stratocaster. And as you can see, there's some pinstriping on it, some stickers, really just those and that. So anyway, the story behind this is when, pretty much gonna show my age over here, so bear with me. So, got this guitar when I was first graduating high school for my mom. That was really when I was starting to get serious about it. I was already in a couple bands, so I was in a pop punk band called the Golden Nobodies with a couple friends from high school, and also I was also in a gigging band called Deuce at the time as well. It was actually just the three of us at the time, and I'm sure you guys know about them recently now. So this was basically a present from my mother for graduating in 2003. At the point in time, a lot of my friends were of course into the Blink-182 band, and that was like about the curve where pop punk bands were like super on the scene. It was pretty much saturated. Like, get this, they actually play music videos on MTV. Yeah, they did. But anyway, with that being said, they had TRL, so you had your Backstreet Boys, but all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but Blink-182 just blew up. Of course, you already know who Blink-182 is. They're one of the largest pop punk bands. Anyway, at that point in time, of course, they had a guitarist named Tom DeLonge. And Fender made a signature series like this. This is Squier. A lot of people were gravitating towards the Fender because of the name brand, and then next thing you know, Fender came out with a cheaper version of it. So I think at the point in time, it was maybe $180, close to $200, I think, at that point in time. And it was basically just stripped down and basic. It didn't have the pearloid pickguard, which I have on. It had a Seymour Duncan designed. They called it the Detonator, so it was like a cheaper version of the Seymour Duncan Invader humbucker, which this is right in here. I went through so many pickup swaps with this actually, so this is another reason why we're gonna get to this. It was just basic. It came in colors white, seafoam green. I think there was Daphne blue, Squier version. I just know that Fender had this Daphne blue, the white one, this one, the surf green, and also it had I think it was Daffodil Yellow or Canary Yellow, one of those. I know one of my friends had the Canary Yellow one. And like I said, I had a bunch of friends that were not pop punk bands, but in bands on the scene, and they all had the Tom DeLonge signature and Fender one. Years down the road, basically everyone sold their guitar because they thought it was like, it's too quirky because it's Tom DeLonge, and I moved on because Blink-182 is basically opinions don't matter here, just a band that's about poo poo pee pee caca. I don't care, whatever. I was into them because that's when I first started out, because it was just easy to play like power chords, like. So when I first started out, that was the most easy thing. If you can like learn 3 chords, do it, That's how I kind of learned. So yeah, basically, I just want to show this guitar. So on the back of the guitar, the serial number says it's an 02. So I got this in 03 when I graduated, so I'm showing my age right there. I've had this guitar, if you do the math, basically half my life now. I went through bands with it. It had so many shows. I mean, literally, there is nicks and dings on the back of it, on the front of it, on the side. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but they are there. It's old. If you would take the pickguard cover off of it, you can actually see the outline of what the color actually looks like, because it may look like surf green right now, but it is actually a darker surf green because underneath the pickguard is a lot brighter. So that just goes to show you how the lacquer or whatever they use, the clear coat, is basically aging, and I love it. I was gonna curse there, but I wasn't going to. So the guitar, it was cheap. It basically had just your basic tuners, Duncan design humbucker for it, which is based off the Invader from Seymour Duncan, and of course it was just a plain pickguard, so it wasn't pearly, like I said, and silver hardware. It's just basically a straight up rocker, and of course it's a signature. So at that point in time, I wanted to make my own. I played it all the time. It was my favorite. It still is my favorite guitar. That's why I still have it. So what I did is actually I upgraded the tuners. These are actually Fender locking tuners. They don't have the F on them. The new ones that I see now, that they have the F on it, but I drilled the holes specifically to make sure they're mounted onto the wood the right way, and to make sure that they're all straight, as straight as it possibly could be. At the point in time, I think I was maybe 2021 that I started upgrading this. So that was the original part, was to put these on first, and then later down the road, I decided to put an EMG 81 on. Now an EMG 81 pickup in it, they are active pickups. So I wanted it to be a little more ripping. I wanted it to be a little more heavy, on the heavy side. And at the point in time, I loved the sound of it with the EMG 81 in it. But the only part was such a pain in the ass, was the fact that the battery was actually underneath the pickguard, and it was like rattle around in there if it wasn't like stuffed in there the right way. Just recently, I guess last year, about November, I just put a Seymour Duncan in it. Finally, after all these years. Before though, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead of the game here. Before though, I did put a Seymour Duncan JB in it because I wanted to see how that would sound. So I went with that one first before I got the EMG. So, sorry, I'm getting a little ahead here. So I decided to put that in there instead now, after all these years, because I figured, well, I always wanted it to be what it would actually sound like with the actual pickup in it that was based off the Fender. So I actually ended up just recently buying it and then putting into it now. With that being said, I will show you all the upgrades I did to it. Continue with the story. So right now, you see as it is. So at the point in time, everything was all silver. This I put in about the same time I was putting the tuners on, about like when I was 20 years old or whatever. So that's still old as hell to be in there. So that's an old part that I got years and years ago, of course. So I put that in there years and years ago. The only thing that is recently new is that perlite pickguard on it, and I still have the original one. But what happened was when I put the EMG into it, the Luther at the time at the local guitar shop had to route it out, because if you can see, it has more of a rounded pocket to it, or rounded off hole onto the pickguard. He basically just routed it out to the same size as the EMG, and EMGs are basically just square. So if you look at how this pickup is rounded off on the sides here, I didn't want it to look goofy. I want it to be like it looked like it's like it was made for it, so that's why I got a whole new one. So I still have the old pickguard. Like, I just like how this looks right now with it already in. So with that being said, I ended up putting a brand new bridge on it as well. With the bridge that I had on it, it was old, so I basically switched it out with this hip shot one, and I wanted a black hardware. I just figured, I always wanted black hardware on this when I was trying to upgrade it, so I figured, you know what, might as well just keep going with black hardware. So the original chrome one, I still have, but it's all rusty. Even the saddles themselves were, which I was amazed by. The saddles themselves, with the set screws that adjusted the saddles, they were all rusty. So I couldn't even get an Allen key into those set screws anymore to adjust the height of the strings. So I ended up just getting a whole new bridge. I wanted to upgrade it anyway, and now it's a little more stable with this hip shot bridge into it, and it just looks cool with that. I had to adjust everything else with it, but and I still have the original volume knob that I might install back onto it, because originally for my first guitar I actually had an Ibanez RG 220, and the Ibanez RG 220 was the one I bought myself with my own money, and actually I sold that guitar to a friend of mine, And actually, before I did, I took one of the volume knobs, and because it was my first guitar, I wanted a memory by it, and I actually put it on this. Now that volume knob is actually on my daughter's guitar, which later down the road I will show you what that is. But I figured I'd put it on that guitar now because that's a little more sentimental value to that knob alone. So anyway, I went and got all parts knobs that I found in the store rack. So I was like, I thought I lost the original volume knob for this guitar, but I found it, and this is it right here. So I will put that back on, because that way it's still the original volume knob, and of course you can't see it, but it's all chrome still, it's not rusty, and I can't believe all this time that it was still available in my pile of junk that I have for extra parts. The tuners, again, I don't have those. I don't think I have those tuners anymore. I think I just threw them away, but since I upgraded these Fender ones, but I don't know what it is. The neck on these Squiers, specifically this one, I don't know what it is. It was perfect, like better than the Fender ones, because the Fender ones had like burrs in it and stuff like that, and it was really weird. Like of the frets themselves, like it was hard to play, because I remember playing my friend's signature. He had a Tom DeLonge, but it was a Fender one, and it had the burrs were sticking out. So maybe he wasn't hydrating it. I don't know. I can't remember. But every time I always switch strings, I always hydrate this fretboard. Every single time I change them out, and it's crazy. I restrung this back in probably December, and it's March now, or April now, I should say. Yeah, it's April. And these are still in tune after all these months. But again, like the other thing about the neck is that the Fender ones, they just have dots. They were just plain dots on the neck. And here on the Squier one, they're actually pearloid. I don't know if it shows up in the camera, but they're actually pearloid. I'm like, why is Squier making the necks better on the cheaper ones, and the Fender ones are just blah? Like, I don't understand. So back then, I think they were having maybe some quality changes going on. I don't know, but I never changed anything out as far as wood wise. Like, this is the same body, the same neck, of course, because this is a 2002 model, and I got in 03. So like I said, it's half my age. It's been through many bands. It's been through many girlfriends and relationships, come and gone. Like, this has always stuck by me all the time. But I love it that much. I will never get rid of it. Hopefully my daughter will. But again, one more thing with the neck, like, I played it so much that it was a satin neck in the back. Now it's starting to become a gloss because I played it so much. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy how this plays. Like, for a cheap Squier guitar, again, it was like, what, $200 maybe? I don't know. I can't remember, but it's crazy the fact that this still plays great. And like, another thing was, when I was going to change the bridge on this, I was kind of like skeptical of doing it because it was rusting, but I didn't want to lose how the action and feel was. But all I did was I swapped it out. Again, I didn't have to change anything. So I think basically the neck was what made it feel the way it feels. And I changed the bridge, and the action's still the same as the old original chrome piece that was on it. So again, I think this is all about the wood, at least for this part of how it plays. So can't complain about that. But anyway, I just wanted to share this guitar, and I know that these guitars now are probably going for like maybe $500 for the Squier ones, because I kind of was looking for a white one to see what they're priced for right now, because why not get another one, you know, if I could still get a hold of it. I mean, they're listed for $5. I'm like, wow, what a big difference, because they're that rare anymore, and they're that valuable. Maybe it's because of like how Blink-182 was in the beginning, and then how they are now. Like, maybe people are starting to appreciate them for what they are now. I don't know. I don't know why they jumped up in price, and I can only imagine what the Fender ones look like, because I haven't seen any Fender ones listed, because I think nobody wants to sell those. But the only ones I've seen so far were on Reverb or eBay, were the Squier versions. Again, probably 500 on up. It's so long ago that I looked. But still, it's just the fact that there's a demand for it. So, so enough with me blabbing. I'm sure you want to hear what this sounds like real quick. So we can move on to the next thing. So here we go. So it's got a little bit of a twang to it still, but I think it's just the iconic sound of how, you know, the pickup is. It's all a really hot pickup. But yeah, so that's the story of my guitar. This, like I said, I had this for half my life now, and the dings and all, again, it's just a super cool guitar to have, a collector, if you will now, since they are going for amazing prices just for the Squier version. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. So again, hopefully, if you have any comments and anything that you want to say down below, go right ahead. So yeah, with that being said, take care. I hope to see you in the next video, and we'll see you next time.